one of the very first topic that we usually come up with when it comes to retailing, revenue, marketing, distribution is about room types. And now, especially you and I, Markus, we already have this kind of discussion about having room types or room names that don't mean anything, or meaningless room names. Is that right?
When we think about this retailing, there is these two aspects to it. Obviously, one is a stimulation of purchase, and the other aspect is maximizing of revenue as well. And you said when the thing is what we're selling, we're trying to sell an experience, and we call the experience standard room, then this is not really stimulating my demand to purchase, really. And if you think about the naming of the room types, or deluxe room, or even if it's called ocean view room, that's already better. But in principle, there's no global standardization of that. I'm not really sure what's in the room, because just naming it king bed room or twin or ocean view room doesn't tell me how really good the view is. What should I expect? And I think in that sense, we are in our industry pretty bad in retailing, because we really focus on maybe maximizing revenue, but we didn't think about the stimulation part and how we use language and what works, doing A/B tests, etc. I think I will pass on to Silvia on this, because I think that is really kind of also, wanted to see a revenue management or a different angle on that topic as well.
Yes, thank you, Markus. I totally agree with you. On the retailing side, I think that the road to make it relevant and effective for the hotel industry is still a long road to go. Starting from the simple way we create our products that are our room types, as you just commented. One of the big mistakes that I always see it happening is that many hoteliers just build room types, so their products and room types for themselves and not for the customers. So the big mistake that happens is that we end up having too many room types that are not relevant to the consumer, but that are just built for the sake of the hotelier, because he thinks in his own head that he has to sell that specific room because it has certain characteristics that are meaningful for him, but that are not necessarily meaningful for the customer. So what I always suggest is that when we build room types, if we want to be relevant and effective on the way we sell them, we must temporarily take off our hotelier's hat and just put ourselves in the customer's shoes. So look at our website, our booking engines, and imagining that we don't know the product at all, we don't know the hotel at all. Is it clear what we are presenting to the customer? Is it relevant? Is it that what they want? That's not an easy task. It might look like it is, but it's actually not. And we need data to understand that, especially on the revenue management side. We need to measure KPIs. And as we are used to measure occupancy, average rate, and RevPAR on the hotel as a whole, we have to start measuring those same KPIs on the booked room types. Only by measuring how are our room types performing, what are our customers buying, then we can, of course, understand where is the demand going and if we are really optimizing based on what we are selling. So actually, passing it over to you, Markus, I think that we're still missing a bit on the understanding of what's the value of the customer. What does the customer really value?
Exactly, and I think the 2 points you said, which I can really relate to as well, is the hoteliers are building usually the rooms for themselves, and I've been many times in hotels where, for example, then the GM says, "Oh, look at these rooms. We need to create another room type for this room. By the way, it's a little bit bigger. We have to enhance it, and let's buy a better coffee machine, and let's put in a bigger screen TV in this room." And maybe these are things that the customer doesn't really value. Who cares maybe about better coffee machine? Maybe, and maybe I'm not even willing to pay more for the space, but maybe I'm willing to pay more for layout or something different. And this comes to the very problem at the moment is, even so maybe online travel agencies, they're doing a better job there. They're doing at least A/B testing, but you can only test what you put on the shelf. And if we put on the shelf a standard and a deluxe room, then all we will know is what performs better, a standard or a deluxe room. We will never know if space performs better than high floor, than this view, or than that. And I think it's about, we got to change the data we put on the shelf. We got to think about a different way of buying or selling, in the sense that we get more intelligent data where we can do A/B tests with, in order to drive those KPIs, in order to understand what really does a customer want. Because right now, if you look at the reviews, they are full of, oh, please ask for this room, or right the corner, or please do this, or please do that. And we cannot even test it. It's just in a review. And maybe if we could do that differently, if we could change the way the data is structured, would be put on the retail shelf, we find a lot more insights, and we can really up our retail game.
Totally agree with you also on that. And linking back to your example, yes, another mistakes that we do as hoteliers is that we create room types based on the cost rather than on the value. In the example that you put, like, I want to put that TV or that thing, but if the customer doesn't value that thing, it's totally useful for us to add this other room type just to the list, to the bucket list. So, and I think that also one limit that we have as an industry is that once we create our room types, we just leave them there. And we forget to just look at them critically, like you said, from time to time, because customers' preferences might just simply change, or our rooms might get old. So based on what are the customers' feedbacks, review the fact that they ask for specific rooms rather than the others, should make us think in a critical way about the way we structure our room types, and we should revise them from time to time. So at least once per year, we should just sit down and let's say and think and say, looking at the data, what is the customer feedback? Is it still worth to keep these room types, or should we just reshuffle our rooms? And this exercise becomes even more complex if we add then the rate plan inside, because now we are thinking about room types only, but every room type has different rate plans and pricing. So that's another thing that we need to keep in mind.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, especially when now we are talking about rate plans, we talk about room types from a, let's say, more a marketing, but also distribution perspective. They're actually the exact same thing, and they follow the exact same problems in a way, because we just started the discussion talking about experience, create and helping customers having their own experience, personalized experience. Now, tapping into what we just said about room types, how is that even possible that the room that is called standard, how can standard, the label standard, even from a copywriting perspective and emotional perspective, how can that word generate positive emotion, experience? Standard is exactly the opposite of experience. It is the equal of a commodity, right? Exactly what the OTAs are perfect at doing and are super good at doing. But the same thing, it comes when we talk about room plans, rate types or rate plans. That is actually, in my opinion, even more confusing, because sometimes we really follow the technicalities of the hotel industry that we keep following for years. So like the classic best available rate bar. Now, I bet, and I challenge you guys to go out there and check any of the website. It will not take more than 10 websites to find on the booking engine best available rate, when it actually is not the best available rate. We just keep talking and name that rate, the best available rate, probably because it comes from, from the old GDS, from the late 70s or probably early 80s. We were not even born probably back then. And they were talking about best available rate because travel agencies needed bar, for differentiating what was a public rate as opposed to negotiated corporate rate. But from a user navigating, a leisure user, let's say, or navigating a website, or navigating a booking engine, best available rate, it doesn't even mean anything. But okay, this is probably a technicality or a technical thing. Let's just focus on the real meaning of the word, besides the best available rate, even the not refundable rate. How appealing or how sexy can not refundable be as a label, as a name? We are just highlighting what is not included or what the customers will not get, which is eventually refundable. Why not focus, if we need to sell those rooms and those rates, why not to focus on what they can actually have included in the rates rather than what they are not going to have? This is especially in the hotel industry a little bit of a problem in the sense that literally copywriting, meaning how we label, how we put names to what we sell to make them more appealing, more effective, more sexy, also even more emotional a little bit. And the last thing, and then of course I will jump over again to Silvia because I want to hear her opinion also from a revenue management perspective in terms of rate plans, is about what's called the information overload, in the sense that so often, and especially in post-pandemic times, it's super easy to go out and offer everything that we have because we have demand is very low, and therefore we need to sell as much as possible what we have, and we have all the room times available, all the rate plans available, and it's very easy to fall into the trap of offering everything that we have, all possible packages, all possible offers. These kind of things make also those marketing and mental triggers like scarcity and urgency less effective, because when you have a list in the booking engine of 50, 70, sometimes even more than 100, the combination of rooms and rates, it's scientifically proven that people cannot handle more than a certain bit of information at a time. That is too much, and people will not go through that. But I guess, Silvia, you also need to have or to say something about it to support this theory.
Yes, absolutely. I'm a fan of less is more. So again, we always have to put ourselves in a customer's shoes. Of course, we have to think at our revenues and profits when we put out offers. But the questions I think that we have to ask ourselves when we see our combinations of rooms and rate types, do we really need to have all these rate plans visible anytime? Or can we maybe just understand better who are our customers, when are they booking, what is the booking window in the specific period of time, so that we highlight or make visible or relevant just the rate plans, offers, and packages that are expected to convert better, that are meeting what they are looking for. So it's not easy to do it, but we have also this limitation of having a lot of static rate plans still. And when I think about static rates, I'm talking about, for example, packages. So I say frequently hotels that if you go in their booking engines and you click, let's say, on your favorite standard room, which I understood is your favorite one, then you scroll down on the rate plans and you can find up to 10 different rate plans with packages, offers, refundable, non refundable, whatever it is. So what will our customer do in that when he sees that? If he sees too many options, we are just standardizing. So there are two ways that the customers react. Either he jumps out of your website because he gets nervous, or the best way, he just clicks on the cheapest rate because that's the one that he understands. So yes, there's a logic behind of trying to work on less is more, be relevant based on your specific target, use the right marketing message on everything, but also on your packages, be careful. I see hotels that are building packages after packages, targeting every possible customer target that they have in their view. But again, this is confusing. And again, we need to ask, is that what really customers want, to have a full experience, which is already decided for them before they come to your hotel? Because for me, it's like going to the supermarket and having my shopping cart already populated with all the items. That's not what I want to do. What I want to do is have in my cart, go there and choose what I really want to buy. And that's, I think, the logic of the future that we need to move towards in order to progress also in our industry. What do you think, Markus?
No, I agree. I think we need a different buying process or buying experience in the hospitality industry. And one of the complexity things for me is, as well as it's very, when you think not only from a customer perspective, from a hotel perspective, what type of product or experiences am I trying to sell? And there already it starts, because I need to fill this hotel 365 days. And then I have very functional types of stays, which might be in and out. And for this type of stays, I don't really need a complex buying process. I just need, give me a room and make it easy for me. check in and check out. Basically, a very functional kind of product. If you think about it, I just need a commodity. Just go in the supermarket, buy this. But if I'm planning my vacation and that's the same hotel, right? I don't want that. I want the experience. Where's the pool? What is this? What can I do? What's the surrounding? And so on and so forth. And the hotel becomes a total different type of product. Meaning, and that's where we create these packages, the static packages you mentioned there, is trying to stimulate demand. But it's not really what I want. You just miss all the time. It's just creating ideas and themes for marketing purposes, which are not mainly not relevant, or to only a small portion of the audience or target audience are they relevant. And that's why I think the problem lies into, we got to have a different purchase experience. So if you think about it as a supermarket for me, we got to have a different types of supermarket. It's kind of like two entrances you need. The entrance for, you need a commodity thing, go in here, pick, bomb, pay. You need an experience, go in the other door and get inspired by what's possible. And then you pick and choose what you want to do.